Okay, hello everyone. We're going to go through printing and troubleshooting printing at external events. The first thing you want to do is when you arrive to set up your event kit, you are going to plug the USB cable from your printer into the accompanying Microsoft Surface. And you'll notice on, if I can actually do it, you'll notice on each surface there is a printer number that goes with the associated BOCA printer that it's supposed to match with. This is important that you take to the event the surface that matches the BOCA printer. Once you've got your USB cable plugged in, then you're going to go ahead and power up your printer, which is over here on the side. Okay, once your printer is powered up, we're going to go ahead and power up the actual Microsoft Surface Pro. Also, while that's powering up, please take note that your credit card bluefin swipe machine should always be plugged in to the dock hub and not directly into the Surface. Only the printer should go into the Surface. The bluefin credit card processor goes into the hub. Okay, now we've pulled it up. We're going to go ahead and Jess, you can sign in here. So this would be, go ahead, Jess is going to sign in. Okay, well, that takes a minute to sign in. Always make sure you have enough stock in your printer for the event based on the demand of the event. And also note on the back your connections while we get this booting up. Here, this is your USB print connection. This is not currently used at events. That's your Ethernet Cat5 jack connection. Do not plug the USB into the Cat5. It goes right here. Okay, it should just take a moment more for Jess's to load up. Three things that you're going to need to have on every surface that everybody needs to utilize. You're going to need to start and connect to Pulse when you log in. You're also going to have to make sure that you have AM monitor on your desktop. And those are some things we're going to go through in a future video. You also have to make sure that your Pacquiolid Software Manager print agent is running. Okay, so we've logged in and it looks like we're connected. And we're going to take and make sure everything that has Pacquiolin on it should be over here to the right-hand side of your screen. That way, if Jenna and I are calling to troubleshoot with you, you will be able to, as we go through this, jump to another quick thing. Always make sure you say yes on this security warning to install this certificate. This is critical to Pacquiolin Software Manager running correctly. Okay, I'm going to do one thing here real quick. Oops. If Pulse is not already down in your system tray, you can search for it like I did right down there. Right-click it and pin it to your taskbar. Okay? That'll come in just a few moments, but here we're going to focus on printing. So we're going to go ahead. First step for printing, you're going to type the word device into your search down here. Go to devices and printers and make sure that your BOCA BIDI FGL, which is a direct USB connection, is your default. Right-click it, set as default printer. Okay. Okay, all these other printers right here are networked printers that go through the university's network. Every printer that ends in DHCP. But for this instance, we're talking about using USB direct. So that's now correctly set as your default. You also want to check down here in your system tray and make sure with this little arrow, the little light bulb, it's Pacquiolin Software Manager, right-click that. You can open it, and you want to make sure that print agent is running. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now that we've set the print agents running. We've set the default printer as the BOCA BIDI FGL. You're going to open up Chrome to log in. If you don't have your login credentials, they should always be saved For your Chrome instance on each of the surfaces, we're going to go ahead https://client.pachyolin, .com/site/coastal. As soon as you get that, make sure that you go up here and save it on your bookmarks bar, and then it will appear over here as a sign-in for Pachyolin. Next step you're going to take is make sure that this add block pop plus is off. So we're going to go ahead and click it, and let's see, we're going to disable it on this site. All right, Jess, if you go ahead and log in. Did I do an, I don't think I did an R in yours.
And the expiration date?
Yep. Now that we're logged in, you're going to see, when, by the way, never save your Pachyolin credentials on a Surface or laptop that other members of the team are going to use. So say never. And this password is always Pachyolin, 12345, all lowercase. And activate. Okay, when you come upon this again, you're going to say never, and then you're going to save your location as Coastal Arts all the time. That's even if you're in Edwards, HTC, or here in Wheelwright, if that pops up. Go to ticketing is the next step. Okay, and as you'll see, we received a red warning that this basically means that the Pachyolin software manager is not connected to the printer. Okay, so the first step we're going to take is, just if you go back down here to the lower left-hand corner of the little circle and type in device, we want to make sure that Windows is talking to the printer. So click devices and printers. Then we're going to go and right-click the BOCA that's already set as your default printer, and you're going to go into printer properties. And then you're going to click print test page. And it may take a second for the BOCA to recognize it. This is what the test we're doing right here is to make sure that Windows is talking to the BOCA. So that's a great first step. We know that the Windows software has recognized and is printing to the BOCA. That's just the simple Windows printout that would come out even if you printed it on a normal printer. So we're going to click OK. We now know that Windows is talking to that. Okay, we're going to go back to the admin menu. You're going to do change thermal ticket printer. There's no red error right there. That does not mean, though, that the software manager is working correctly. So, and software manager is how Pachyolin talks to the BOCA. You click continue. If it takes this long, you know you're going to get cannot connect to print agent error. Okay, so we've hit this roadblock. Click OK. Then what you're going to do is go to previous. Then we're going to go down here into your system tray with the arrow. And if you would go down there and right click, open up there. Oops, just normal click to open that. Then go to the little blue light bulb, which is the Pachyolin software manager, and right click it. You're going to exit it. What you've done right there, even though it says no messages on the screen, you've shut down the Pachyolin software manager. The next step is you'll go ahead and go and show your desktop. You're going to go and just click twice on Pachyolin Software Manager, which is on the desktop. Let's see if it's running yet. No, I guess I didn't click. There we go. You're not going to see anything that says Pachyolin Software Manager has started. It's just taking a second here to loop. And we're going to see if it's back. It's back and active and running down in your system tray. Right here, you'll see that Pachyolin Software Manager is up and running. If you go ahead and click continue now, we go back into Pachyolin. And notice, voila, that's the screen, and it should always appear that quickly when you've got the correct printer. So then the next option is going to be to drop down, and you're looking for the BOCA Bitty Fiji, which is the exact printer we set as your default in the beginning. Great. Now we're going to go through. We can save it right here. Okay, and then go back to change thermal ticket printer. Now this is just a precaution, continue. And then we're going to go to test print alignment. Next step, you'll drop down and use BOCA 11. Click continue. And since we're currently in the spring season, we'll use ASP 19 as our season. And try to select any event that is not a movie. That's fine. And then test the printer. Okay, great. So we were in that test print. She's already saved her printer as the BOCA Biddy. We're done here. So at this point, we can go up to select and get into actual pack 7, which is to sell tickets. Okay, so we're in, this is great, but you'll notice up here in the right-hand corner, she's gonna need to shut down her pop-up blocker immediately. Normal click it, press that button and shut it off. All pop-up blockers for a Paciolan should be shut off. Okay, the next step we're gonna take is, we're gonna choose this first event, we're gonna do 1 complimentary ticket. And the problem we should run into once we go through the checkout process, there's another pop-up blocker built into the browser that needs to be shut down. Skip this step, we can just use a house account in this instance. You have to select your sale code, and then we're gonna watch as it happens here, as you click purchase. This is a complimentary ticket. You're gonna see, normally there should be 2 pop-up windows that pop up if your printer, BOCA printer, is normally functioning and talking to Paciolan. But you'll see over here, there's a little red X. You're gonna have to right click that. You're gonna have to click the top radio button, which always allows you to get pop-ups from Paciolan, and click done. And go to the reprint. You only have to do this the first time. Once you've got both pop-up blockers, you have to click there. Once you've got both pop-up blockers, then shut off. You won't have to do this in the future when you use Chrome. Click reprint. And please take note, you have to do these settings on each computer that you work on, even in the box office. If you've never worked on a desktop before, or if you've never worked on one of the surfaces, you're going to have to do this each time. We can just go ahead and void out this order. All right, so now the printer is running. Now, another common problem that we run into, you can go down into, just type device in there, and go to devices and printers. Another common problem that you can run into on a printer that's over, let's say at the Edwards building, after it hasn't been used in some time, this can appear at times, the icon of the BOCA that we're defaulted to, as a grayed out icon, and it will say offline. So the solution to this is to right click, go to printer properties. Right here, you'll notice that you have to change properties. This is the only way to get around this. At this point, you're going to have to call either Jason or Jenna to elevate and to use our credentials to get in so that we can take the printer from being offline. Unfortunately, there's no other way around it. So once I've given you the credentials to log in, you simply go over to sharing, and we'll still be on the phone with you, and then you shut off share this printer, then turn it back on. Click OK, and then at that time the printer should go from offline to being in a solid color state, which means everything is connected and working. Those are the basics of setting up your printer. Just important to remember that just because the first test print in Windows works does not mean that your printer is hooked up to Paciolan. And the Paciolan Software Manager is the bridge between the Paciolan software and the BOCA, which makes the two talk to each other. So make sure those are working. And in another video here shortly, we're going to go over how to properly house managers and box office sellers to access Monitor.